Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Tea with Tina podcast. On today's episode, we're going to talk about a very highly debated topic in the fitness realm, which is, do you do cardio before or after weights? So we're going to dive into the science of that. The safe professional opinion is it depends, but it's going to depend on the activities you're doing, your body, and we're going to chat about that and kind of how to get the most out of your cardio and your training by placing those things in the correct order. Okay, before we get started though, just a little update. I always like to give a little life update in the beginning of my podcast. So there's been a lot that's been going on. Big transition period for me. Firstly, I got a new MacBook. I am recording on the old MacBook. This is my iPhone actually that I'm video recording on, but I have to voice record on my MacBook. The new MacBook is a little bit underwhelming. I mainly upgraded because I need faster speeds, video editing, things like that, because I have been doing like YouTube videos off of my phone, which is fine, but if I want to make them prettier, I gotta like edit in iMovie. But the new MacBook does not have a USB port. It does have other ports though. They did pretty well with that, but like it was a big upgrade and it's underwhelming because it literally transfers everything over seamlessly, which is really nice, but it looks exactly like my old one as far as like things that I can do, and there's not necessarily any new features. So I'm like, oh man, but I know it's worth it. It's like a faster, better thing. Yes. So that happened. I kind of just officially transferred everything over and I started playing around with it and using it. So I hope to maybe film some YouTube videos today for those of you watching on YouTube, and edit them to, make them not just to simply sit down and talk, have some fun transitions and things like that. So stay tuned. And if you are listening and watching, by the way, don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more episodes of the Tea with Tina, as well as fitness, nutrition chats, some workouts thrown in there. Just follow along for all the health and fitness goodies. This weekend, at the time of filming, it's like 4th of July weekend, I watched some movies. I watched this one. I love my B horror films, and it was The Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. It was apparently a direct-to-TV movie. It was filmed specifically for that. Very good, like early 80s horror film, if I do say so myself, with a good story. So highly recommend checking that out. They said that it actually wasn't really available aside from the time that it aired on television in the 80s because of rights until like 2011. So kind of interesting. I think it is on Tubi for free, TUBI. If you have Roku, you can download the Tubi app. They have a lot of great like older movies and stuff for free to watch, and maybe some things that you forgot about. Love Tubi. I also watched it on Shudder. I watched Joe Bob, and his commentary and background information is always great. Trying to think. Oh, the other big thing, fitness and training related, is that for any local peeps, I am going to be training in person a couple days a week independently out of a studio. Please message me if you're interested in this. This supports me a little bit more than at the big box gym that I'm currently training at, and it helps support my business. But I'll be training in person there Mondays and Thursdays. Just message me if you're interested about rates and the location and things like that, and we can set that up. I do still have my online coaching as well. I am currently accepting clients. Sorry for the obnoxious cars that drive by. Anyway, I am currently accepting clients for my online coaching program, Flourish. It is a one-on-one coaching program, so it's completely personalized to you, totally personalized workouts, nutrition guidance, if you choose to do so. I kind of have different tiers where if you just want workouts, you just want nutrition, or you want a little bit of both, all of that access is in my fitness training app, Tina Wineland Fitness. A lot of great features in there, like the meal plan generator. It generates a meal plan based off the calorie and macro goals I set for you with complete recipes. There's thousands of recipes in there, and they're always updating it with different things. They just dropped an update recently actually to add more things, like no cook meals, which for my busy women out there, that is the way to go. Also in July, since it's the beginning of July, I am dropping my first month of the Motivation Club. For those of you who do not know, current clients get access to the Motivation Club, which is a Facebook group. It is a low-cost Facebook group, only $7 a month. I kind of wanted it for a obviously low-cost way for you to kind of get a little bit of motivation through workouts, nutrition, motivational chats, and just a community. And again, all current clients get access to this resource for free, but maybe you can't afford training right now and you just want to sample my services and you want to try a little bit and you need a little bit of boost for low cost. This is your go-to. So for July, I'm having a theme every month. July is a patriotic theme. And the workout theme is abs. So this week I'm going to be dropping some ab circuits for you to do that you can incorporate into your current workouts. You can do standalone, nice little finisher to your workouts, whatever you want to do there. The second week I'm going to be dropping recipes. So 5 kind of July patriotic themed recipes complete with full calories and macros, and they're going to obviously be more health focused. I try to make them quick and easy as well. The third week is going to be a motivational chat in the Facebook group privately, and then the fourth week is always going to be a reflect week. So that's kind of the structure I'm going for: workouts, nutrition, motivation, and then mindset, and then a reflection week. So based off the month, it'll be your chance to kind of reflect on what went well, what didn't, what you can do better for the next month. So if you want to be a part of that, feel free to check it out. I'm going to drop a link in the description box below, as well as a link to my coaching if you want. It is application based, so please apply if you're interested, and we can kind of chat about what is a good fit for you. Okay, but anyways, so that's kind of in the fitness realm, some things going on with me, but we're going to get into the actual episode. So again, I have my notes over here. If you see me on the YouTube people, if you see me looking to the right, it's because I have some notes. So cardio before or after weights, right? So I'm gonna give you a little excerpt from the American Council on Exercise. This is what they say, okay? 1, if your goal is better endurance, okay, so lasting longer essentially, do cardio before weights. 2, if your goal is burning fat and losing weight, which is probably most of us, right? Do cardio after weights. If you want to get stronger, do cardio after weights. On upper body strength training days, you can do either first. On lower body strength training days, do cardio after weights. And if your goal is just general fitness, do either first, but maybe start with the one you like less. Okay. How long those cardio workouts last also depends on your goals. If you're seeking strength improvements, then you may want to limit your cardio to a 10 to 15 minute session to warm up your muscles. Okay, and then the last little thing is doing cardio after weight training burned more fat during the first 15 minutes of that cardio workout versus starting with cardio and then lifting, according to a study published in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise. Okay, so I took these things word for word from research on the internet. I'm going to tell you kind of my thoughts on these things and where, everything's not black and white, right? It's kind of like it tends to be. And I'm going to encourage you to experiment and see what works best for your body. It's kind of like saying, should you do cardio fasted? Like, I know some people that love fasted cardio in the morning, that it just works for them. And I know some people that absolutely hate it. They feel weak, they get nauseous. Like if you're, I'm going to butcher this. Is it hyperglycemic? Hypoglycemic? I don't know why. I can't think of it. I think it's hypoglycemic. I apologize if I butcher that term. I'm having a brain fart. But where your blood sugar basically drops really low if you don't eat regularly, like someone who is like that probably shouldn't do fasted cardio, right? Like, because you're probably going to get this blood sugar drop and feel like you're going to pass out. So it's very individualized and person to person. So take that into account when we're talking about this stuff. But I encourage you to kind of be your own little experiment. Play around with these things. If you have a smartwatch or a tracker, look at your data, because I'm going to share my personal experience with cardio and how it kind of goes against the grain for most people and why it works for me, okay? And it might ebb and flow and change over time because our body's hormones, especially as females, ebb and flow and change over time. Or if we're particularly stressed or whatever, different parts in our life are going to change. So we're going to change with it. So let's just kind of go through this again. So if your goal is better endurance, do cardio before weights. I agree with this because endurance, we're probably more so talking about maybe if you're training for like a marathon or a 5K, you want to be able to perform longer, better. That makes sense to do your cardio before weights because you are fresh. You're not going to be fatigued. and you don't have to worry about the weights taking all of it out of you. And this is kind of actually what I generally go towards. So I guess you could classify me as the endurance based goal, because I do like the idea of building upon my runs and my walks and doing longer sessions, like improving on those sessions or faster or more of an incline or whatever. And that's why I personally tend to do cardio before my weights. I'm going to get into a couple more reasons of why I do that. But I think that is a good reason. Okay, so if you're endurance, you want to improve your endurance, definitely cardio before. If your goal is burning fat and losing weight, do cardio after weights. This, I don't know, I can see their reasoning for this, because when we want to burn fat, it's not necessarily weight loss, right? Fat loss is losing fat, not muscle. So maybe you want to preserve that muscle because you want to hold on to curves, you want to hold on to definition and strength. So they're saying to do cardio after weights because you get your strength training out of the way, you put the most effort into the strength training, and then you can finish with cardio after, okay? I would maybe recommend this if the cardio was more so walking, something lower intensity, like if you were trying to do a HIIT circuit or something, where you're sprinting and walking. I don't know if I would advise for this, but again, everybody's a little bit different. Also, at the very least, I want to recommend that anybody does at least like a 5-minute warm-up on cardio, like usually like a walk. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, stair climb or whatever, before they lift. Even if they are going to do cardio after their workout, try to get that little 5 to 10 minute warm-up before, because it elevates the heart rate, warms up your body to help prevent injury in stiff muscles, cold muscles, and it allows you to burn a little bit more calories throughout the workout, again, because your heart rate is going to be a little bit more elevated, so you're going to see those jumps and getting into those higher ranges a little bit easier. Because if you've ever noticed, if you jump into a workout cold, it's going to take, again, that 5-10 minutes to elevate your heart rate, which is why I think they say in this last little part, doing cardio after weight training burned more fat during the first 15 minutes of that cardio workout, versus starting with cardio and then lifting, because I think it just has to do with the warm-up period, right? Like if you already lifted and your heart rate's elevated from lifting and then you hop into cardio, your body's essentially warmed up, right? But if we do that cardio first and we're starting out cold, of course our body needs those maybe up to 15 minutes to essentially get warmed up and primed and ready to go. So I think it's more so a matter of fact of doing something maybe for 15 minutes to warm up our body to transition into whatever we're doing to get into that fat burning zone, right? So I think that's kind of more so what's going on. So we have that. So 3, if you want to get stronger, do cardio after weights. Yes, I could definitely see this. The reasoning behind that is, again, it's more of an energy reserve thing. If you start out with lifting, you're gonna have all of your energy to give towards those lifts. You don't have to pre-exhaust yourself with the cardio, so therefore you're going to be able to lift a little bit more. Again, I think it's like a contextual thing, because when we think of cardio, we don't always necessarily think of like walking, right? We think of like, oh my god, I'm gonna be sprinting on the treadmill, I'm gonna be going all out in the elliptical or rowing, and I'm gonna be sweating, and I'm gonna be doing the stair climber and all this stuff. But I think, again, we still have to revisit that even if you are going for your PR for a lift, you're gonna need to warm up to some extent. And I always, this could be a whole nother episode, which I think I did make a podcast episode on this. I'm gonna have to link it below. I forget what episode number it is. But walking is kind of a part of your warm-up. I would definitely recommend walking to be a part of a warm-up. 5 minutes, something, like I said, to raise your heart rate. But then in addition to that, we do need a warm-up with stretching, not static stretching, but we want to be more mobile. So I teach this to my clients. For instance, if maybe you want to go for a deadlift PR, right? We're going to do maybe inchworms to help warm up, because those inchworms are going to help stretch out the hamstrings. We might do some Cossack squats, those side-to-side lunges, because it's going to help warm up our hips, our inner and outer thighs. Again, very lightweight, maybe even body weight, minimal sets. And we're actually going to do a couple really light sets of the deadlift to help get our body warmed up, but we're not really exerting any extra energy into that lift. So again, there's still going to be some component of warming up. And I think that too often we consider like cardio like just anything, right? So we got to do still some sort of warm up for any of those things, which can include some form of cardio. So keep that in mind. So that's number 3. 4, on upper body strength training days, you can do either, whatever you want to call it. I 100% agree with this because upper body, again, it's generally isolated to the upper body. When we're doing cardio, there's very few things that are going to be really using solely our upper body. And even if it does, something like an Airdyne bike or the skiing machine or rotors even, it's still not super exhaustive or fatiguing on the upper body. But again, person to person, we don't know. If maybe you feel that it does, maybe you could do the cardio after. But I would say, yeah, it kind of depends. Upper bodies also tend to take less out of you. You tend to burn less calories. That's personally me when I would do cardio before, because I know I wouldn't exhaust my upper body muscles, okay? On the reverse side, that's why they say on lower body strength training days, do cardio after weights. Again, because it's very fatiguing. You're using a large part of your body. Your legs make up a large part of your body, and any leg movements you do, you are incorporating core, and sometimes you're incorporating upper body, like if you're holding heavy weights while maybe doing walking lunges or whatever it may be. You're always kind of incorporating total body with lower body to some extent. So we don't want to overly fatigue the muscles. And then the last one, if your goal is just general fitness, do either first, but maybe start with the one you like less. And I think that's kind of why I stray towards that answer, is because a lot of the clients I teach are more lifestyle. So I teach more functional training, functional movement, lifestyle fitness. Most of the people that I train don't really care about all that stuff unless they have a specific goal, like they are training for 5K or they specifically want to build up their legs and glutes. Most people are just trying to be healthier, lose a little bit of weight, feel better, be in less pain. So when you're going that general health route, there really isn't a significant difference because it's not gonna directly affect anything because you don't have that specific goal. So again, you can see how it kind of determines, and it depends person to person based on your scenario. So I hope that maybe you heard a scenario in there that you can relate to and see which would be better for you. So I would try the recommendations that were said here, and if you still feel like it's not good for you, you can always switch it up. I've always said too, like, there's a couple other factors that come into play, things like boredom. I know there's some people that absolutely dread cardio, they hate cardio, and that's why they just don't do it, they avoid it. And I always say, why don't you split it up? Like if you're doing a 30-minute session, why don't you do 15 minutes before, 15 minutes after? Who's that gonna hurt, right? You're sneaking in 30 minutes. You can get your cardio in a separate part of the day. Maybe you go for a walk outside or a run outside, or you do hills somewhere, or maybe you even come back to the gym at a later time to just get your cardio in. So even if it's a separate session altogether, I don't think that's really going to interfere with your goals depending on whatever you're doing. As long as you have the time for it, no big deal there, right? And then as far as like how long to do cardio, because we are talking about cardio before or after weights, how long, it says if you're seeking strength improvements, then you may want to limit your cardio to a 10 to 15 minute session to warm up your muscles. So that's kind of what I was talking about before, right? You're gonna warm up before. So people who tend to bulk or they're more strength focused, they're afraid to do too much cardio because that burns fat, but it also, like when you're losing weight, most of the time you're going to be losing some extent of muscle with it. It just kind of is how our body works, right? We can't just lose exclusively fat. So they try to limit cardio as much as possible, even though through lifting they are going to get their heart rate up. Cardio is a different effect. So I do recommend that if you are more strength focused, you don't necessarily care about losing fat, losing weight, limit it to that 10 to 15 minute session prior, keep it lower intensity, things like that. But for the average person, you're looking, I would say, at least a 10-minute warm up on cardio, even if you're gonna do it after, just to warm up your body before your workout. And depending on your goals, I'd say anywhere between 20 to 40 minutes of cardio. Unless you're maybe like walking and going for distance and you're trying to get like, oh, I walk 2 miles a day. Sometimes that could take a little bit longer, and if you have the time to do it. But usually 20 to 40 minutes is a nice middle ground. And again, I do have an episode about this too, just cardio in general and the different types, but I think it's good to mix like interval training along with steady state cardio, because interval training is shown to elevate your heart rate and burn fat way past doing the actual workout. I've even registered it on my heart rate monitors. Like if I were to go do anything, even just a little amount of effort, my heart rate shoots up so much faster, as opposed to if I just walked, which allows me to burn more calories in the long run, okay? Just because it's the nature of the style of cardio. So keep that in mind. Usually if you're doing interval training, that's gonna be less time, so like 20 minutes to 30 minutes. If you are doing more steady state, that's gonna be a longer period of time because you can sustain it a little bit more. So it's a good idea to vary that as well. But definitely getting movement in couple times a week, 3 to 5 times a week to start is key, okay? But yeah, so I just kind of want to give a little rundown of that because I think that's a really common question. I hope that you learned something. I hope that maybe you can apply this. Let me know. Shoot me a message wherever. You can do it on Instagram at Tina Wild and Fit. You can email me. You can do it on Facebook. I don't care. But I want to know like kind of where you're doing your cardio right now. Did you learn something? Did you think, oh shoot, I'm doing my cardio before when I should be doing it after? And let me know how it goes. Or like, is there something you're planning on implementing? I kind of want to know. So let me know. But other than that, I think that is all I got for you today, guys. So until next time, we will chat soon. And we have that dang obnoxious vehicle out front. But we'll chat soon. Bye, guys. Have a great rest of your week. Bye for now.